This video is for two types of people. One, if you're the type of person who desperately wants a partner, desperately wants a husband, a boyfriend, whatever, keep watching. Or if you are someone who absolutely despises men and believes there's no more good men in the world and you've just had horrible experiences with men and you're starting to give up hope on ever finding the right one or finding a man who's actually going to treat you well, this video is also for you. I'm here to tell you that one super important component of manifesting your dream life is to decenter men. Because when you're giving so much of your precious energy to either desperately desiring a partner or hating the male existence, you're actually detracting energy that you could be investing into yourself, your hobbies, your passions, your life, your health, your joy. Those are invaluable. And by the way, I am not sharing this as someone who's holier than thou or anything like that. I too have had very male-centered periods of my life where my whole life revolved around a man in one way or another. I used to have very pick-me energy around dating and men, and I just wanted to be chosen by somebody. That sounds embarrassing, but I don't have any shame in sharing that because it was part of my experience, and now I get to share my wisdom with you. Because when I stopped curating my every action, my every thought, my every move that I made in my life around what that would mean to a man, I got so much of my power back, and I truly started to become the woman of my dreams. You can search all you want for the love of your life, but the reality is you are the love of your own life, and you get to create your life to be whatever you want it to be, regardless of whether there's someone else in it or not. I'm not saying that you should not date, that you should not find a partner, that you shouldn't get married. That is not what I'm saying at all, because those are desires that I have for myself as well. But when you have this mindset that you are the love of your own life, all of a sudden your world becomes so much more vibrant. You can do whatever you want. You can really focus on the things that bring you joy, that fill your cup, that bring you life. I wake up every single day happy and excited to be alive because I have curated my life around what makes me happy, not around what someone else wants for me. I mentioned this in my last video, but I'm currently in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. I work for myself full-time. I'm a full-time digital nomad, so I just kind of travel different places, just wherever I want to go. And I just enjoy this sort of nomadic lifestyle, moving around, meeting lots of people, seeing different places. That brings me a lot of joy, and so that's what I'm doing right now. But once upon a time, I was dating someone who lived in Ohio, and I am not saying anything negative about this person if you know who it is. He's a wonderful guy, but if I was going to be with him, I would have had to move to Ohio and live in a very, very cold climate. I don't like cold weather, so it wasn't for me. But I really thought about it because I love this guy. But I was also like 24 years old. I was like, you know what? I want to travel. I have so much of my life ahead of me. And so we broke up. And it was very, very hard to end that relationship at the time because I loved him a lot and he loved me a lot. And we actually had a pretty good relationship overall. But at the end of the day, I had to choose myself. And so that's what I did. We ended that relationship. I started traveling, and this actually is what led into this full-time travel thing that I'm doing now. I've kind of done it on and off for the past few years, but my point in telling you this story is to share that if you choose yourself, you will never ever lose. It is never a bad decision to choose yourself and to do what makes you happy, regardless of what that is. And you might be wondering, Sam, well, what if I want to have a husband? What if I want to have kids? What if I want to do XYZ with a partner? And I hear you, but think about it this way. Let's say that your life is like a garden. If you build a big, beautiful garden, then you're going to attract all the best butterflies to your garden, right? We can think about the man as the butterfly in this case. But if you're so invested in what's going on outside your garden that you're not tending to it, then your flowers are going to wilt and there's not going to be any good butterflies. You might get some beat up ones that the other gardens don't want. But my point is, like, you need to build your life to be aligned with your desires, your joy, what you want for it. And then you'll attract a partner who fits into that ecosystem, who complements you in all those ways. And so that's why decentering men, ironically, is the way to get someone who is actually a good fit for you and to attract the right type of man into your world. So now that we're clear on that, I do want to talk a bit about self-concept because this is such important work to do. Your self-concept is essentially how you see yourself, like how you view yourself. It's your understanding of how you exist in the world. So for example, if you view yourself as someone who has standards, as someone who will engage in certain behaviors but not about others, then you'll show up in the world as that person because your self-concept is very strong. People with weak self-concepts kind of just float throughout the world. They don't really have a stance or a perspective on things. They just kind of do whatever. They're very influenced by the outside, like their environment or other people. But people with strong self-concepts, they know who they are and they go be that person in the world. So remember what I just said about how building your big, beautiful garden is how you attract the right man? You can think of your self-concept as being really the core of this garden. I've worked on my self-concept a lot in the past, especially the past 6 months. I mean, it's an ongoing journey, but I've really locked in on the past 6 months into doing that type of work. And it's helped me get a really clear perspective on what I'm looking for in a partner. What I'm about to say might trigger some people, but the truth is that if you're having a lot of negative experiences with men, like you're going on dates with these guys and they're turning out to be horrible people or doing absolutely crazy things, those experiences, although they're not your fault, are an invitation to look inward and work more on your self-concept. Because anybody could end up on a bad date with a guy or end up with somebody who turns out to be diabolical. But the key is when you find someone like that, you cannot continue dating them. You cannot stay with them. You cannot accept that type of behavior in your life. And that's where the self-concept comes into play. Because dating strategies or whatever, or I don't even like using that word strategy in dating because it shouldn't be a strategy, right? But you do not need more dating strategies. You actually just need a stronger self-concept in order to have a filter for good versus bad experiences, knowing what you're gonna accept versus not accept. It all comes down to doing the self-concept work and really knowing who you are and what your values are. So we've talked a lot about self-concept, but let's talk about what that actually looks like in real life. I'll tell you exactly what I did. Well, I haven't used dating apps in a long time. Like it's probably been 3 years since the last time I used a dating app, but I just don't like them. Personally, that's my take. Feel free to use them if you want, but I personally don't. I think they're too superficial and attract a lot of the wrong types of people. But more recently, I have gotten really serious about my fitness. I've been really consistent in the gym for like 6 months. I was still working out before that, but it was very like on and off. It wasn't as consistent as it is now, especially since being here in Playa del Carmen, I've locked in on my nutrition, always hitting my protein goal, not drinking alcohol as much. I've really cut down a lot on my drinking. Not that I was drinking every day before or anything, but that has made a tremendous difference in my productivity and my overall lifestyle and just my mental health as well. I always write in my gratitude journal every morning and every night. That's an important practice for me. I do also do some other types of journaling as well. And another thing I like doing is using ChatGPT as a modality for personal growth. I talk about this in some of my other videos, so I will link those. You can check them out. But basically, you can use ChatGPT as a tool to help you analyze your own experiences, your own thoughts, your own beliefs, and help you choose more empowering ones going forward. It goes deeper than journaling because journaling is really a one-way conversation with yourself, but ChatGPT offers you obviously artificial intelligence that gives you more of a two-way conversation and help you uncover blind spots that you might not have seen yourself. This is especially helpful for identifying patterns of self-sabotage. So one thing that I use it for is identifying negative self-talk or unhelpful, anxious thoughts and helping reframe that into a more empowering thought or a more empowering statement. Because I struggle with a lot of anxiety just throughout the day, throughout the week about various things, like things that just, you know how anxiety is. Sometimes it's just irrational. ChatGPT helps me a lot to stay grounded and identify when these anxious thoughts are not contributing anything positive to my life. I actually have a free workbook you can check out. It has 10 ChatGPT prompts for manifestation, and it just is kind of like a starter workbook to manifest in different areas of your life. There's one for money, there's one for manifesting your dream home. It's all about getting clear on what you actually desire. Definitely check that out if you're interested in using ChatGPT for manifestation, because it has helped me tremendously since I started using it like that. So I have that link down below. But using these modalities like journaling, using chat as well, building my life in the world for myself instead of thinking about some guy has allowed me to grow my business, improve my health and fitness. It's helped me love myself more, have better self-care practices, have a stronger self-concept, and overall just build structure, discipline, and emotional stability. Because the other thing too is there's nothing wrong with being in a relationship, of course. I've been in many relationships. Well, not many. I would say like 4 serious relationships I've had in in my life. When you have another person involved, especially if you don't have a strong self-concept like I didn't before, it's easy to let structure and discipline and your goals fall to the wayside because you're investing time in another person. But also, if that person isn't aligned with where you're going in your life, this is the problem. Like I just said, there's nothing wrong with being in a relationship, but the caveat is that the person has to fit your lifestyle, your goals, and have similar aspirations as you, because then you're motivating each other, you're building together, you're both on the same level. But many of the relationships I've been in, I didn't have alignment on that piece. And so it actually stalled my discipline, it stalled my growth, it stalled my dreams and my goals. And so that's just another way that decentering men has actually helped me manifest my dream life and reach my goals and have more structure and discipline in my life overall. But above all, the key is to just cultivate your garden with lots of beautiful flowers, because when your life becomes full, you stop looking for someone to fill the void, because there's not a void to fill. You're just bringing someone in who complements what you already have, and that inherently will attract much higher quality people. And I speak from experience on that too, because the experiences I've had with men since I started doing this work have been much, much higher quality than they were before. And I haven't really been dating, I haven't been meeting people as much, but on the small occasions where I did, it was always with a very high quality person. And that just goes to show the power of this self-concept work and decentering men. So my advice to you, if you want to decenter men and really build your self-concept in your own life and beautiful garden, make sure you build routines and structure into your day. Like, try to wake up at the same time every day, go to sleep at the same time every day, have a workout throughout the day, cook some healthy food. Really focus on doing these things independently, because then you won't need anyone else to do it for you. You can just cultivate your garden on your own, like I said. Also, financial independence is very important. Make sure you really learn about finances so you can manage those things yourself. If you don't know a lot about that, then definitely study up, because that's a skill that will help you throughout your entire life. Also, it's important to take time for self-care and to really tend to yourself and your emotions. Really processing your emotions, whatever you're feeling, is very important. Like yesterday, I just cried because I was overwhelmed. Let yourself sit and cry if you need to. I'm not really a crier because I'm actually a very go, 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 hustle kind of person usually. But these days, I've taken time to slow down and really process my emotions, because if you just let that tension build up inside of you without giving it a release, it will wreak havoc on your mental health and your productivity and your overall mood throughout the day. So like yesterday, I just took a minute to cry. I just had a bad 5 minutes where I just let myself cry, but I felt so much better after that. So make sure you're making time for that. Incorporate a mindfulness activity into your day, like journaling or meditation or something that you personally enjoy, even going for a walk, because that will keep you grounded and centered rather than letting your anxious thoughts go everywhere, because I get a lot of anxious thoughts. So trust me, you need a mindfulness activity. And also, this is very important, I believe, and this may be a little bit of a hot take, but you need to stop dating because you're bored. Like, if you were just going on dating apps and you're just like swiping on whoever just because you're bored and you want to go on a date or whatever, like, that's not really intentionally dating, in my opinion. It's just filling the void. Like I said before, it's filling the void with someone who may or may not be a high quality person. From my perspective, that time would be much better invested in building your garden, cultivating it with beautiful flowers, you know? Because it's all about creating a life that you love without a partner. And this is coming from someone who also wants a partner. I'm not saying that you should never have one, but the thing is that we can't control what other people do. So like, let's say you get a partner, but then they leave you. You don't want to be left with nothing. You want to still have the big, beautiful garden that you built, right? Do not outsource your life and your joy to someone else. You need to have that built for yourself first. Because when you build a life so aligned and so wonderful that you attract the right people into it to complement it, not to fill a void, then you stop having this pick-me energy and you're not trying to be chosen anymore. Instead, you can actually choose the right person for you. If you take away anything from this, let it be that. All right, well, that is it for today's video. Like I said, if you want to grab that free ChatGPT for Manifestation workbook, I do have that link below. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, because I'm making more videos on topics like this one, especially around manifestation and also how to use AI to help with your manifestation process. I love you. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.